Hi there, and welcome again to our read aloud of our Read Around the World books. Today's book, let me show you, let me share my screen. Hold on one moment. Today's book is The Adventures of Bella and Harry. Let's Visit Prague. Boys and girls, Prague is a city in very tiny European country. Oh, here's Africa. Here's our continent of Africa. And just north of Africa is the continent of Europe. And on the continent of Europe, it's not quite labeled, but it's this yellow spot here near Germany and Poland. And it's called the Czech Republic. All right, so that's the country we're visiting today. And the capital city of that country is Prague. And that's where the adventures of Bella and Harry take place. So again, before we begin, let's take a look at your question and answer sheet, which I hope you have ready. Sorry, it's a little fuzzy, but here we go. All right, so we're reading the story, Bella and Harry, Let's Visit Prague, again in the country of the Czech Republic on the continent of Europe. You can go back after we finish the book and decide if you think this story is fiction, make-believe, or nonfiction. Is it real? Does it have a lot of facts? Is it realistic fiction? We'll talk about that a little bit, or historical fiction. But for right now, let's take a look. Let's take a look at the cover of our book, The Adventures of Bella and Harry, Let's Visit Prague! Exclamation point, because we're excited to visit this country, this city. The author and illustrator, hard to see in this white print. The author is Lisa Manzione, not sure. And it is illustrated by Christine Luco. So let me show the title and give you a minute to copy it down. Bella and Harry, Let's Visit Prague. Maybe you've already done that if you came to this video knowing what we were doing today. Bella and Harry, Let's Visit Prague. Written by Lisa Manzione. Illustrated by Christine Luco. Give me just a moment here to fill in those names. And I'm going to guess that this one is Bella. She's so pretty with her pink bows and her pink ear. And Harry, this big-eared dog. All right, and again, we always look for the copyright date so we know how current and up-to-date our book is, or sometimes the copyright date tells us this book was written a long time ago, and so our perceptions of what's going on would be affected by how long ago it was written. So back here on our publishing page, right here at the top, shows the copyright text and illustrations, copyright 2018. So this book is fairly new, just a few years old. And I believe there are other Bella and Harry adventures, but this adventure is taking us to Prague. So I hope you filled in the title, the author and the illustrator, and the publishing date, so that now we can begin our story. Now the cover page again. And let's begin. Bella, what a pretty castle. Yes, Harry, we are visiting Prague Castle today in Prague, the Czech Republic. The castle complex is the official home of the president of the country. The castle and grounds are open for all to see. So let's look around. Look at the beautiful halls of the castle, boys and girls. And outside we have the gardens. A lot of people believe this is the biggest ancient castle complex in the world. Many rulers or leaders have called this castle home. Oh, boys and girls, know what we didn't do? We didn't go over the questions, which I'd like you to have in mind before we start to read. So let's take a quick look. So we have those questions in mind while we're reading. The first one asks you to name 3 most important sites that you would like to visit in Prague. Number 2, what are some favorite Czech foods you might enjoy while in Prague? And number 3, why are there so many bones at the Bone Church outside of Prague? And what are they used for? All right, so those are the questions to have in mind as we go along reading. And also, I just want to remind everybody about number 4. What is your opinion of the book? Would you recommend it to a friend? Why or why not? Please answer question number 4 in a complete sentence. But let's get back to where we were, visiting the Prague Castle. One of the most beautiful sites in Prague, the Prague Castle and its the castle grounds, the complex. The Church of the Virgin Mary, the Basilica of St. George, and the Cathedral of St. Vitus are also located within the castle complex. So when we're talking about the castle complex, boys and girls, we're talking about the whole area. The castle that we just saw, the first place they visited, this beautiful castle. Outside of the castle are some beautiful gardens and 3 beautiful churches and cathedrals, among other things. From this part of the castle complex, we can see the entire city of Prague. Come on, let's take a look. See him looking through the telescope there? Oh, and here's a nice map showing you the area that our story is taking place. Here's the country of the Czech Republic, surrounded by Poland, Germany, Austria, and Slovakia. And here's the city of Prague. Well, let's look at our map before we leave the castle grounds. Countries near the Czech Republic are Germany, Poland, Austria, and Slovakia. Next stop is the Charles Bridge. What a beautiful sight that is. At one time, it was the only way to cross the Vltava River. Using the bridge was the easiest way to go from Prague Castle to Old Town. This stone Gothic bridge is now used by people walking from Lesser Town to Old Town. No cars are allowed on the bridge. Think about why that might be, boys and girls. It's a very, very old bridge, and cars are very, very heavy. So only people can walk across. This is a very cool bridge, Bella. Look at all these statues. Well, Harry, the first statues were placed along the bridge in the 17th century. Many of the original statues are now in museums. So some of the statues we see along the bridge are copies. But I think the copies are just as cool. More sights to see, the beautiful statues on the bridge. Bella, I see a tower at the end of the bridge. I'll race you there. Harry, the bridge is about 2,000 feet long, or 210 alligators tail to tail. That's going to be a long race, but I bet I will win. And Bella took off. That's a strange way to measure things by the length of alligators, but there you go. Yay, I won. Let's go up to the top of the tower, Harry. There's a great view of Prague and the bridge from there. Wow, here they are at the top of the tower, looking out over the Charles Bridge. That was a lot of fun. Hey, Bella, I want to head over to the old town. I heard there's an astronomical clock over there. What kind of clock, Harry? I have no idea what you're talking about. What another beautiful sight. An astronomical clock, Bella. The official name of the clock is Prague Horloge. Sorry, the Prague Horloge. The clock is about 600 years old and has three main parts: an astronomical dial, figures that move every hour, and a calendar dial. Bella, one of the figures that moves is a skeleton. So boys and girls, if it's an astronomical clock, not only is it telling you the time, but the movement of the planets, right? The planets and the sun. It's an astronomical clock from the word astronomy. All right, but let's get back to this skeleton and these moving parts. Really, Harry? Let's watch what happens when the clock reaches the hour. That would be something to see, these moving in and out. Harry, after all that racing around, I'm hungry for a snack. All right, boys and girls, I think question number 2 asked you about the food in Prague. I'm hungry for a snack. Let's try some local food with our family. I want to try some zvichkova. That's beef that is slowly cooked with vegetables. The beef is then topped with a delicious cream sauce and usually served with dumplings. Boys and girls, I have some Czech relatives. My family comes from that part of Europe, and believe me, I know they love their dumplings. So this dish, spichkova, is a beef and vegetable dish that's served with dumplings. But over here, Harry's having something different. You might want some palachinki, which are very thin pancakes or crepes, filled with ice cream, jam, or fruits, and topped with whipped cream, almonds, or sugar. Mmm, yummy. Boys and girls, my screen is not showing this very clearly. Let me zoom in if you want to write about palachinki, the pancakes. In a moment, I'll show the other page that talks about svichkova, the beef, vegetables, and dumplings. And if you maybe want to write about this one, you may. And remember, boys and girls, you're not copying word for word, just tell about it in your own words. Or pause the video. Let me move it to this page where Bella's having beef. She's having beef and vegetables and dumplings. All right, so again, boys and girls, you can write that in your own words. You can also pause this video if you want to read the page more closely and get a better look at that yummy food. Okay, let's move on. Time for a road trip, Harry. We're heading to Kutna, Hora to see the Sedlic ossuary, also known as the Bone Church. I wonder if you're as curious as I am about the Bone Church. Bones? I love bones, said Harry. Oh, not that kind of bones, Harry. We're going to visit a Roman Catholic church that holds over 40,000 bones from people who have passed away. Way back in the 13th century, it's believed that the abbot, the person in charge of the monastery, returned from Palestine with a packet of soil and placed it in the graveyard around the chapel. Because of the special soil that came from Palestine, which held a lot of meaning, this soil from this very hallowed place in Palestine, because that soil was taken from there and taken to this church, it made people want to be buried there. Since there are so many bones, they've been used as decorations inside the chapel. So boys and girls, this beautiful church and monastery holds a special meaning to people because there was special soil planted around the church. So special so that when people died, they wanted to be buried there. And so, there were so many people, but there were so many bones, and they used some of those bones to decorate the inside of the church. Harry says. He doesn't seem so sure about that. Okay. Our next stop is Cesky Krumlov, a city located on the Vltava River. There is a castle in that city too. The castle is called Cesky Krumlov Castle. Another beautiful, beautiful site in and around Prague. One of the things that makes Cesky Krumlov Castle special is its theater, which is still in its original building. It has the same stage and curtains that were used long ago. You know how much I love theater, right, Harry? See the castle. See the curtains of the theater. Looks like a beautiful place. We had a wonderful time visiting Prague and hope that you did too. We look forward to you joining us on our next adventure. But for now, it's goodbye or ahoj in Czech. Ohart from Bellaboo and Harry too. All right, boys and girls, and let me show you this page about their adventures in Prague. More of the places they visited. They visited an area of Prague known as the Jewish Quarter. Looks like a temple there. Bella and Harry on their way to see the Prague National Theater. And a more modern building here called the Dancing House. Interesting curves and lines on that building like we don't usually see. All right, boys and girls, that's our story of Bella and Harry. Let's visit Prague. I hope you enjoyed that. Let's look at our question answer sheet for a moment, which I dropped. Here we go. All right, you can decide if the adventures of Bella and Harry is a book of fiction, nonfiction, realistic fiction, or historical fiction. I'm just going to point out that we know that dogs don't talk in real life or take themselves on little adventures. So that seems kind of make-believe. But we learned about so many real places in Prague. So you think about that and you decide which genre this story is. Also, it says write a fun fact from the author's bio. And so far in the other books that we've read, we haven't had an author's bio. So you can just leave that blank or write N/A on there. That question is not applicable. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us for the story today. And I'll see you next time. Bye.